We thought we knew power until we saw humanity. Part 1. First Contact. The stars looked cold and distant through the viewport of the Coalition flagship. Admiral Kira Song stood with her forearms crossed, watching the small blue planet grow larger. Earth. Such a simple name for such a simple world. Status report, she commanded. Her voice echoed in the vast bridge. We are entering the outer edge of the Sol system, Admiral, replied her second-in-command. All 12 member species report ready. Our fleet numbers 3,000 ships. Kira nodded. The Galactic Coalition had conquered hundreds of worlds. They controlled technology that could destroy stars. They had weapons that bent the laws of physics. 12 different alien species worked together under their banner. No one had ever resisted them successfully. Energy readings from the third planet? She asked. Primitive nuclear fission, Admiral. Some fusion experiments. Chemical rockets. Radio waves. The officer paused. Wait, there's something else. What kind of something else? Unknown, Admiral. The readings are strange, not matching any known energy patterns. Kira waved a tentacle dismissively. Probably atmospheric interference. Begin standard first. Contact protocol. On Earth, Captain Jinsu Park sat in the command center of Earth Defense Headquarters. The room buzzed with activity. Screens showed data from satellites and ground stations. His coffee had gone cold hours ago. Captain, we're detecting massive objects entering the solar system, reported Lieutenant Sujin Choi. Her fingers flew over her console. They're not asteroids. They're ships. Jinsu straightened in his chair. How many? Thousands, sir. They're huge. The biggest one is the size of Manhattan. The main screen flickered. A message appeared in perfect English, Chinese, and every other Earth language simultaneously. Attention, inhabitants of Earth. You are now under the protection of the Galactic Coalition. Prepare for integration into our empire. Resistance is impossible. You have one rotation of your planet to surrender. Jinsu looked at his team. No one panicked. No one screamed. They simply waited for orders. Send a reply, Jinsu said calmly. Tell them we need time to discuss their offer with our leaders. Sir, shouldn't we? Just send it, Lieutenant. The Coalition bridge received Earth's response. Admiral Kira laughed, a sound like grinding stones. They want time to discuss? How amusing. Show them why resistance is pointless. A Coalition destroyer moved toward the asteroid belt, its main weapon charged with purple energy. The beam lanced out, striking a small asteroid. The rock didn't just break apart. It ceased to exist, converted entirely to energy in a blinding flash. Send the recording to Earth, Kira ordered. Let them see what we can do to their planet. Back on Earth, the demonstration played on every screen. World leaders held emergency meetings. Military commanders studied the alien weapons. Scientists analyzed the energy signatures. But something strange happened. No one panicked. Ambassador Minji Lee adjusted her glasses as she entered the United Nations Assembly Hall. Representatives from every nation had gathered. The room should have been chaos. Instead, it was oddly quiet. Ladies and gentlemen, she began, we've all seen their demonstration. They want us to fear them. They expect us to surrender. She paused, looking around the room. I propose we invite them to talk, face to face. Are you insane? Shouted the Russian representative. Did you see what they did to that asteroid? Minji smiled slightly. I did, and I noticed what they didn't do. What do you mean? They could have destroyed our moon. They could have hit Earth itself. But they chose a distant asteroid. They're trying to scare us without damaging anything valuable. That tells me they want Earth intact. The Chinese representative leaned forward. You think they're bluffing? No. Their weapons are real. But they prefer intimidation to destruction. We can use that. Within hours, Earth sent a new message. They invited a coalition delegation to land and discuss terms. Admiral Kira was puzzled. They saw our power and they want to talk? Are humans stupid or brave? Perhaps both, Admiral, suggested her science officer. Their brain scans show unusual patterns. High activity in regions we don't fully understand. No matter. Prepare a landing party, full armor and weapons. Let's meet these humans. The Coalition shuttle descended through Earth's atmosphere. It landed in the middle of Central Park in New York City. Thousands of humans gathered to watch, kept back by barriers. Again, no panic, just curiosity. The shuttle door opened. Out stepped Admiral Kira Song in her full battle armor, accompanied by warriors from 6 different Coalition species. Each one could destroy a city block with their weapons. Ambassador Minji Lee walked forward. To meet them, she wore a simple business suit, no armor, no visible weapons. Behind her stood a small group of humans. Captain Jinsu Park, Dr. Yunho Bei, and 3 young soldiers. "Welcome to Earth," Minji said, bowing politely. "I am Ambassador Lee. Shall we talk?" Kira studied the human. The translator in her ear worked perfectly, but something felt wrong. The human showed no fear. None of them did. "You understand our power?" Kira asked. "You saw what we can do?" "We did. Very impressive technology. Then you surrender?" Minji tilted her head. "We're willing to discuss terms, but surrender might not be necessary." Kira's 4 arms tensed. "Explain." "We measure power differently than you do," Minji said simply. "Your ships are magnificent. Your weapons are fearsome. But those aren't the only forms of power. You dare suggest your primitive weapons can match ours? I'm suggesting that weapons aren't everything." The Coalition warriors laughed. The sound was harsh and mocking. Dr. Yunho Bei stepped forward. "Admiral, may I show you something?" Without waiting for an answer, he pulled out a simple pencil. He held it up, then let it go. Instead of falling, the pencil floated in the air, spinning slowly. The laughter stopped. "A cheap trick," Kira said, but her voice had an edge of uncertainty. "Magnetic fields, hidden wires." "No tricks," Yunho replied. The pencil suddenly shot upward, then stopped, then moved in complex patterns. "Just a different kind of power." Private Jemino, one of the young soldiers, stepped forward. He looked barely old enough to be in the military. He held out his hand, palm up. A small flame appeared above it, not from any device, just floating there. The Coalition's best sensors detected. No technology, no energy source. Nothing that should allow these displays. "How?" Kira demanded. "That's what we'd like to discuss," Minji said. "You have 24 hours to decide if you want to be our enemies or our students." As the Coalition delegation returned to their ship, Admiral Kira's mind raced. She had conquered worlds that controlled stellar fusion. She had defeated species that could manipulate gravity. But she had never seen anything like this. For the first time in her long career, she wondered if the Coalition had made a terrible mistake. The humans watched the shuttle leave. Captain Jinsu turned to Minji. "Think they'll attack?" "Probably," she replied. "But that's when they'll learn the truth." "The truth?" Minji smiled. "That we stopped measuring power and weapons long ago. We found something much stronger." Above them, the Coalition fleet waited. 3,000 ships. Enough firepower to crack planets. But on Earth, no one was afraid. Admiral Kira Song paced back and forth on her flagship's bridge. The floating pencil and the flame kept replaying in her mind. No technology. No power source. Just humans doing impossible things. "Run the scans again," she ordered. "Admiral, we've run them 12 times. The results are the same. No detectable energy fields, no hidden devices." Kira's forearms clenched. "There must be an explanation. Prepare a full demonstration of our power. I want these humans to understand exactly what they're refusing." The Coalition fleet moved into attack formation around Earth. 3,000 ships spread across space like a metal web. Each ship glowed with contained energy. On Earth, the world's leaders watched through telescopes and satellites. President Mina Yoon of the Global Earth Council sat in the command bunker with her advisors. "Madam President, they're positioning for an attack demonstration," reported General Junho Kang. "Are our people ready?" she asked. "Yes, ma'am. Every city has volunteers in position." "Then we wait. Let them show their cards first. The coalition's display began at dawn. A destroyer targeted an abandoned oil rig in the Pacific Ocean. A green beam shot down from space. The metal structure didn't just melt. It turned to atoms, then to pure energy. The explosion sent waves 100 feet high. Next, they demonstrated their shield technology. Dozens of Earth's missiles launched at a coalition cruiser. Nuclear warheads, the most powerful weapons humanity had built with traditional technology. They hit the ship's shields and vanished. Not exploded, just gone. Your weapons cannot touch us, Admiral Kira broadcast to Earth. Watch and understand your position. A coalition battleship fired a gravity weapon at the moon. A crater 5 miles wide appeared instantly. The moon itself shifted slightly in its orbit. We could shatter your satellite. We could turn your planet into dust. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. In New York, Ambassador Minji Lee watched the demonstration with her team. She sipped her tea calmly. Impressive, she said. They've mastered energy conversion, gravitational manipulation, and quantum shielding. They're going to destroy us, muttered an aide. No, Minji replied. They're going to learn something new today. She activated the global communication system. Her face appeared on every screen on Earth and was transmitted to the coalition fleet. Admiral Song, thank you for your demonstration. We acknowledge your technological superiority. Now, would you like to see what humans can do? Kira laughed. Your chemical rockets, your nuclear bombs, we just showed you how useless they are. I wasn't talking about those, Minji said. She nodded to someone off screen. Begin our demonstration. In Times Square, a young woman named Hyun Jo stepped forward. Thousands watched. She was a kindergarten teacher, not a soldier. She wore jeans and a simple shirt. Hyun closed her eyes. The coalition watched through their sensors as she slowly rose into the air. No jetpack, no wires. She just floated upward, arms spread wide. But that was just the beginning. In London, a construction worker named Dongwoo An placed his hand on Big Ben. The massive clock tower shimmered and became transparent. People could see through the stone and metal as if it were glass. In Tokyo, an elderly man named Kyung-ho Lim sat in a Zen garden. Cherry blossoms were out of season, but as he meditated, the trees around him burst into full bloom. Pink petals fell like snow. The coalition's sensors went crazy. No technology was causing these events. The energy readings made no sense. Admiral, we're detecting quantum fluctuations at the cellular level in these humans, reported the science officer. Their brain patterns are unlike anything in our database. In Sydney, a child named Suman Bayek played by the harbor. She pointed at the water and it rose in spirals, forming shapes of dolphins and whales made entirely of liquid. In Moscow, a firefighter named Taehyun Shin walked into a burning building. The flames parted before him like curtains. He emerged, carrying victims untouched by the fire that should have killed them all. Impossible, Admiral Kira breathed. How are they doing this? The demonstrations continued. In Cairo, a doctor named Ji Young Chun healed patients by touching them. Broken, bones mended, diseases vanished. The coalition's medical scanners confirmed it. Instant cellular regeneration. In Rio, a dancer named Seo Jun Yuk performed on the beach. As he moved, the sand rose with him, creating sculptures that defied gravity. The wind itself seemed to dance. To his rhythm. Stop this, Kira commanded. Fire warning shots, make them stop. A coalition ship fired at an empty field in France. The beam never reached the ground. A farmer named Wanho Huang had raised his hand, and the energy simply dispersed into harmless light. Ambassador Minji appeared on screen again. Admiral, we're not trying to threaten you. We're trying to show you something. Show me what? That you're all freaks? Mutants? That we're evolved, Minji said gently. While your species developed external technology, humans developed internal abilities. We learned to use our consciousness itself as a tool. Dr. Yunho Bei joined the broadcast from his laboratory. 300 years ago, humanity nearly destroyed itself. Wars, pollution, disasters. We were dying. But extreme pressure creates extreme evolution. He showed brain scans on the screen. The human brain adapted. We learned to access quantum fields with our thoughts, to bend reality with our will. What you call impossible, we call Tuesday. Admiral Kira watched as more demonstrations unfolded. A pilot named Yoon Jung-moon phased her fighter jet through a mountain. A swimmer named Hyun-woo Sung breathed underwater for an hour. A musician named Daiho Kwon played a violin, and the music healed psychological trauma in everyone who heard it. We can destroy planets with technology, Kira said weakly. We have conquered galaxies. And we respect that, Minji replied. But can your technology do this? In Antarctica, a scientist named Eugene Seo touched a glacier. The ice reshaped itself into a perfect model of the Coalition flagship, accurate to the smallest detail. She had never seen the ship's blueprints. We don't want to fight, Minji continued. We want to share. Imagine what our species could achieve together. Your technology and our abilities. The Coalition bridge was silent. Officers from 12 species stared at their screens. Everything they believed about power had just crumbled. A warrior from the Zathar species spoke up. Admiral, their abilities violate physics as we understand it. No, said Dr. Bay. We just understand different physics. Consciousness is not separate from the universe, it's part of it. We learned to use that connection. Private Jemin. Oh, the young soldier from the first meeting appeared on screen. He was standing in a field in Kansas. Watch this, he said simply. He knelt and placed both hands on the ground. The entire wheat field began to glow, not with any external light, but from within each stalk of grain. The glow spread outward in waves visible from space. He's charging the plants with life energy, the Coalition science officer whispered. Crop yields in that field will triple. No fertilizer, no genetic modification, just will. Admiral Kira slumped in her command chair. Her forearms hung limp. 22 hours remain, Admiral, Minji said softly. We're not asking for your surrender, we're offering partnership. The choice is yours. The transmission ended. Around Earth, humans continued their demonstrations. Not of destruction, but of creation. Not of conquest, but of transformation. For the first time in the Coalition's 1,000-year history, they faced something their weapons couldn't defeat, the unlimited potential of conscious will. The countdown continued. But now, it was the Coalition that was afraid. The Coalition War Council met in emergency session. Representatives from all 12 species filled the flagship's main hall. Fear hung in the air like smoke. This cannot be real, said Commander Thark of the Zilonian Guard. No species can break physical laws with their minds. You saw the demonstrations, Admiral Kira replied. Our sensors don't lie. Then we must attack now, shouted General Vex from the Crimson Empire. Before they can organize. The room erupted in arguments. Some wanted immediate attack, others urged caution, a few suggested retreat. On Earth, Captain Jinsu Park stood on the flight deck of humanity's flagship, the ESS Unity. The ship looked primitive compared to Coalition vessels. Metal and ceramic instead of energy fields, chemical thrusters instead of quantum drives. Captain, the Coalition fleet is powering weapons, reported Lieutenant Sujin Choi. As expected, Jinsu said calmly. Begin Phase 3. Yes, sir. All wings. Prepare for consciousness merge. In space, Coalition sensors detected something strange. Earth's small fleet of 500 ships began to glow, not with engine power or weapons charging. The ships themselves were glowing. Admiral, the human vessels are exhibiting quantum resonance patterns, the science officer reported. It's similar to their individual demonstrations, but amplified. Fire at will, Kira ordered. All ships, engage. 3,000 Coalition ships opened fire. Beams of destructive energy, gravity weapons, antimatter torpedoes, quantum disruptors. Every weapon they had launched at Earth's fleet. Lieutenant Sujin Choi closed her eyes in her fighter cockpit. Around her, 200 human pilots did the same. They weren't flying their ships anymore. They were becoming them. The coalition weapons hit empty space. The human ships had phased out of normal reality, existing in a state between dimensions. The pilots' consciousness merged with their vessels, turning metal and circuits into extensions of their will. Impossible, Admiral Kira screamed. Track them! Find them! The human ships reappeared inside the coalition formation. No engines had fired. They had simply decided to be somewhere else, and reality obeyed. Commander Hana Kim led the counterattack from the ESS Seoul. She didn't give verbal orders. Her mind touched every human pilot's consciousness. They moved as one organism. Coalition battlecruiser fired its main gun at Earth. Private Jamin O in a small patrol boat raised his hand. The massive energy beam bent like light through a prism, harmlessly dispersing into space. My turn, he whispered. Jamin focused on the battlecruiser. He didn't fire any weapons. He simply decided that the ship's molecular bonds were tired of holding together. The mile-long vessel began to dissolve, its atoms drifting apart like morning mist. The crew evacuated in escape pods. No one died. Humans were very careful about that. On the coalition flagship, panic spread. Their greatest warrior, Champion Krax, of the warrior caste, demanded single combat. I will face their best fighter, he roared. Blade to blade, mind to mind. The challenge was accepted. A platform formed in space between the fleets, created by human thought and coalition technology, working together. Champion Krax stood 9 feet tall, covered in battle armor that had survived 1,000 fights. Earth's champion arrived, Private Jamin O, looking younger than ever in his simple uniform. No armor, no weapons. This is their champion? Krax laughed. A child? The fight began. Krax moved with speed that defied his size. His blade, forged in the heart of a star, could cut through any matter. He struck at Jamin. The blade passed through empty air. Jamin wasn't there anymore. He stood behind Krax, hands in his pockets. You're very fast, Jamin said politely. Krax spun and fired his plasma cannon. The energy bolt froze in midair, then formed into a butterfly and flew away. How? Krax demanded. You fight in 3 dimensions, Jamin explained. I exist in 11. Krax attacked with everything he had. Energy weapons, gravity fields, even a pocket black hole generator. Nothing worked. Jamin didn't fight back. He simply existed in ways that made attacks meaningless. Finally, exhausted, Krax fell to his knees. Kill me then. Why would I do that? Jamin asked. He sat cross-legged in the air. You're not my enemy, you're just scared. On Earth, Dr. Yunho Bei gave a lecture to world leaders while the space battle raged. The coalition measures power and energy output, he explained. How much they can destroy. We learned something different. Consciousness is the fundamental force of the universe. Matter and energy are just thoughts that forgot they were thinking. President Mina Yoon raised her hand. How did we develop these abilities? Necessity, Yunho replied. When we nearly destroyed our world, some humans adapted. The ability was always there, dormant in our DNA. Crisis activated it. First a few individuals, then more. Now 30% of humans can access these powers. Only 30%? That's enough. Consciousness is collective. When enough minds believe something, reality adjusts. In space, the coalition fleet was falling apart, not destroyed. Humans were carefully disabling weapons and engines while keeping life support active. Ships found themselves gently moved, away from Earth by invisible hands. Admiral Kira watched her tactical display. Half her fleet was disabled. No coalition deaths. Thousands of human demonstrations of impossible power. Her communication system activated. Admiral Song, said Ambassador Minji Lee. May we talk now? Kira's shoulders sagged. We cannot fight this. What are you? We're what happens when a species stops looking outward for power and starts looking inward, Minji replied. Your technology is magnificent, but you never learned the most important truth. What truth? That consciousness creates reality, not the other way around. The fighting stopped. Across space, Human and coalition forces held position. On the platform, Private Jamin helped champion Krax to his feet. "I don't understand," Krax said. "You could have killed me instantly." "Power isn't about what you can destroy," Jamin replied. "It's about what you can create, what you can become, what you can help others become." Admiral Kira made her decision. "Ambassador Lee, we request formal negotiations. The coalition surrenders." "We don't want your surrender," Minji said warmly. "We want your friendship, your knowledge, your perspective. Together we can be more than either of us alone." As the two fleets stood down, something beautiful happened. Human consciousness reached out to coalition minds. For the first time, the aliens felt what humans felt. The connection to the universe itself. The potential within every conscious being. A young coalition officer touched a console and flowers grew from the metal. A warrior closed his eyes and floated off the deck. An engineer looked at a broken component and watched it repair itself. "We can teach you," Dr. Yunho broadcast to the coalition. "Not everyone can learn, but many can. Consciousness evolution isn't limited to humans. It's the next step for all sentient life." The coalition had come to conquer. They stayed to learn. Captain Jinsu Park stood on the bridge of the Unity, watching coalition and human ships mingling peacefully. Lieutenant Sujin joined him. "Think they'll really change?" she asked. "They already have," Jinsu replied. "They just don't know it yet." In the depths of space, something new was beginning. Not conquest or surrender, but transformation. The coalition had thought they knew power. They had measured it in weapons and energy. Humanity showed them that real power was something else entirely. It was the power to change reality with a thought, to heal instead of harm, to create instead of destroy. It was the power of consciousness itself, and it was just the beginning. 3 weeks had passed since the coalition's surrender. Their massive fleet now orbited Earth peacefully, but peace was just the beginning of something larger. Ambassador Minji Lee walked through the newly built Unity station. Humans and aliens worked side by side. The station floated between Earth and the Moon, created by both coalition technology and human consciousness. She entered the main training hall. Hundreds of coalition members sat in meditation poses, guided by human teachers. In the center, Master Sujung Namgung, an elderly Korean woman, led the session. "Feel the energy within you," Sujung said softly. "It was always there. You just never looked for it." A Thraxian warrior opened his 4 eyes. Above his scaled hand, a small flame flickered. His face showed pure wonder. "I did it," he exclaimed. "I made fire from nothing." "Not from nothing," Sujung corrected gently. "From your will, from your connection to the universe." Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. The coalition had brought human teachers to their homeworlds. Changes began slowly, then faster. On the desert planet Kepler 5, Commander Hana Kim taught fighter pilots. Coalition pilots who once relied on targeting computers learned to feel their enemies' movements before they happened. "Don't think about where they are," Hana instructed. "Feel where they will be. Time is more flexible than you believe." A pilot from the Void Hunter Squadron closed her eyes. In the simulation, she dodged attacks that hadn't been fired yet. Her consciousness touched future moments, bringing knowledge back to the present. On Earth, Dr. Yunho Bae worked with coalition scientists. They combined human consciousness studies with alien quantum physics. The results amazed everyone. "Look at this," said Chief Scientist Zorax, pointing at holographic equations. "When we add consciousness as a variable in universal field theory, everything makes sense. Dark matter, dark energy. They're not mysterious forces. They're thoughts from the universe itself." Yunho nodded. "We discovered this 50 years ago. Reality is conscious. We're just parts of it that became self-aware. The first major test came when pirates attacked a coalition mining station near Saturn. The attackers had black hole weapons, technology that even the coalition feared. Captain Jinsu Park led the response team. 3 human ships and 6 coalition vessels arrived at the station. The pirates had already created a micro-black hole, It was slowly consuming the station. Coalition protocol says to evacuate and let it consume everything, reported the Coalition. Captain, human protocol says we fix it, Jinsu replied. He turned to his crew. Focus with me, feel the space-time distortion. 20 humans joined their consciousness. They reached out to the black hole, not with technology, but with pure will. The Coalition crews watched in awe as the humans began to sing. Not words, but harmonics that resonated with reality itself. The black hole trembled. Its event horizon wavered. Then, impossibly, it began to shrink. They're convincing space-time to heal itself, whispered the Coalition science officer. They're singing to the universe and it's listening. The black hole collapsed into nothing. The station was saved. The pirates surrendered immediately, begging to learn these abilities. But the greatest change happened on the Coalition capital world. Admiral Kira Song stood before the Supreme Council, leaders of all 12 Coalition species. I propose we restructure everything, she said. No more conquest. No more forced integration. We become teachers and students instead. Abandon our empire? Demanded Counselor Vrex. Become weak like these humans? Private Gemin O stepped forward. He had been invited as Earth's representative. May I demonstrate something? Without waiting, he waved his hand. The entire council chamber transformed. Walls became transparent, showing the city beyond. The ceiling opened to reveal stars. The floor turned to soft grass. This is weakness? Jamin asked. He restored the room with another gesture. We ended your military might without killing anyone. We saved your mining station from a black hole. We're teaching your people to transcend physical limits. How is that weak? The council murmured. Old beliefs were hard to change. Then something unexpected happened. A small Felorian child ran into the chamber. She was the daughter of a council member, only 6 years old by human measurement. Daddy, watch, she cried. She held up her fuzzy hands. Between them, a perfect crystal flower grew from nothing. The human teacher showed me. I can make beautiful things. The council fell silent. This child had learned in 3 weeks what their scientists couldn't do in centuries. The young adapt faster, explained Dr. Yunho, who had followed the child. Their minds aren't fixed in old patterns. Every child born from now on will have these abilities naturally. Counselor Vrex stood slowly. He was ancient, set in his ways. He looked at the crystal flower, then at the child's joyful face. I withdraw my objection, he said quietly. We will follow this new path. The transformation accelerated. Coalition. Weapons were repurposed into tools for creation. Warships became exploration vessels. Military academies became consciousness schools. On the moon of Titan, Master Youngmi Hong taught advanced classes. Her students had progressed beyond simple telekinesis or energy manipulation. Today, we learn to heal planets, she announced. The I, class of mixed humans and aliens, focused on a barren asteroid. Together, their consciousness reached out. Water ice formed in the craters. Oxygen began to gather. Seeds carried by thought took root in new soil. Life wants to exist, Youngmi explained. We just help it remember how. 6 months after first contact, the galaxy had changed completely. Former Coalition warriors now protected trade routes using predictive consciousness instead of weapons. Pirates and raiders found themselves gently disabled and offered education instead of destruction. Lieutenant Sujin Choi led a joint patrol near the Orion Nebula. Her crew included beings from 8 different species. They encountered a damaged vessel from an unknown race. They're dying, reported the Zilonian medical officer. Radiation poisoning. Our technology can't save them. But we can, Sujin said. She and 3 others joined hands around the victims. They didn't use medicine or machines. They convinced the damaged cells to remember health. The radiation burns faded. Dying organs resumed function. The unknown aliens woke to see their saviors. Fear turned to wonder as translation kicked in. We heard rumors, their captain said, about beings who break reality's rules. We didn't believe. Believe, Sujin smiled. And if you want, we can teach you too. The old coalition empire had expanded through force. The new consciousness network expanded through invitation. Species joined not from fear but from hope. Commander Hana Kim stood on the observation deck of Unity Station. Earth turned slowly below. Ships from 100 worlds came and went peacefully. Admiral Kira joined her. The alien's 4 arms were relaxed, her warrior posture gone. "You humans confuse me," Kira said. "You had ultimate power. You could have ruled everything. Why share it?" "Because power shared is power multiplied," Hana replied. "Your technology plus our consciousness creates something neither could achieve alone. And if someone uses these abilities for evil, that's the risk of any power. But consciousness has built-in limits. It connects us all. To hurt others is to hurt yourself. Most who try quickly learn this." A message arrived from the galactic rim. A new species had achieved faster-than-light travel. The old coalition would have sent warships. Instead, a welcome. Committee prepared. Teachers, healers, and diplomats. Private Gemino would lead the greeting party. The youngest human to master consciousness control would be the first face they saw. "Think they'll be afraid of us?" he asked Captain Jinsu. "Maybe at first," Jinsu replied. "But fear becomes wonder. Wonder becomes hope. Hope becomes transformation." The galaxy had learned humanity's secret. True power wasn't in weapons or energy. It was in consciousness itself, the ability to imagine reality differently and make it so. And this was just the beginning. 1 year had passed since humanity changed the galaxy forever. The universe looked different now, not in its stars and planets, but in how conscious beings saw their place in it. Ambassador Minji Lee stood in the Grand Assembly Hall on New Eden, a planet transformed by combined human and coalition consciousness. What was once a barren rock now bloomed with forests and oceans. Representatives from 63 species filled the hall. Not just the original Coalition 12, but dozens more who had joined the Consciousness Collective, as it was now called. "Welcome to the first anniversary of our awakening," Minji began. "Today we celebrate not victory, but transformation." Tiak. The audience Admiral Kira Song sat with her former warriors. They wore simple robes now instead of battle armor. Kira herself had changed most of all. She could heal with a touch and see possible futures in her dreams. "A year ago we measured power in destruction," Minji continued. "Now we measure it in creation. Let me show you what we've accomplished." The hall filled with holographic displays, dead worlds brought to life, species saved from extinction, wars ended before they began, pirates and raiders transformed into protectors and builders. Dr. Yunho Bei took the stage. "We've learned that consciousness evolution has no limit. What we thought was the ceiling is just the floor of what's possible." He gestured, and a small star appeared above the stage. Not a hologram, but an actual miniature star, contained by pure will. Master Sunja Cho created this yesterday. She converted thought directly into fusion. "We're not just bending reality anymore, we're learning to write it." The audience gasped. Even after a year, new abilities still amazed them. On Earth, President Mina Yoon met with the Global Council. Earth had become the spiritual center of the galaxy, though it claimed no political power. "Applications to our consciousness schools exceed capacity by 1,000 to 1, reported Education Minister Donghyun Imim. "Every species wants to learn." "What about the resistant ones?" asked Defense Minister Junho Kang. "The Zarathi Empire still refuses all contact." "Patience," Mina replied. "Force created their isolation. Only patience will end it." As if responding to her words, an urgent message arrived. The Zarathi had launched their entire fleet toward Earth. 10,000 warships, each capable of planetary destruction. "They're using quantum tunneling drives," reported the officer. "Arrival in 6 hours." The old panic buttons weren't pressed. No alarms sounded. Instead, Earth's response was calm preparation. Captain Jinsu Park coordinated the welcome committee. "Remember, they're not enemies, they're frightened beings who don't understand yet." Master Sujung Namgung gathered the consciousness teachers. "Today we show them the ultimate truth. No weapon can defeat an open heart. The Zarathi fleet emerged from quantum space, weapons charged. Their supreme warlord broadcast a challenge. Humans, your corruption of the galaxy ends now. Surrender or be annihilated. The response came not from Earth's leaders but from a child. 12-year-old Minky Jong had won a contest to give the official reply. "Hello," she said brightly. "We're happy you came to visit. Would you like to see something beautiful?" Before the warlord could respond, Minky reached out with her mind. Around every Zarathi ship, flowers began to bloom in space. Not holograms or illusions, but real flowers sustained by consciousness, surviving in vacuum through pure will. "What trickery is this?" the warlord demanded. "Not tricks," Private Jamino replied, appearing on their screens. "Just love expressed as matter. Your weapons are amazing, but can they create life?" The Zarathi fired. Thousands of antimatter beams and quantum torpedoes launched at Earth, the most powerful attack in galactic history. Humanity's response was unprecedented. 30 million humans and allies joined their consciousness, not to fight, but to transform. The weapons didn't hit shields or get deflected. They became something else. Each missile became a seed. Each energy beam became water and light. As the weapons reached Earth's atmosphere, they triggered the largest bloom event in cosmic history. Clouds of butterflies, flocks of phoenix-like energy beings, forests that grew in midair. The Zarathi fleet computers crashed. Their sensors couldn't process what they were seeing. Destruction had become creation on a planetary scale. But the true transformation happened inside the ships. Each Zarathi warrior felt a gentle touch in their mind. Not invasion, but invitation. They experienced Earth's children laughing. They felt the joy of creation. They saw what the galaxy had become. Supreme Warlord Kazor stood on his bridge, watching, his ultimate attack become a celebration of life. Tears ran down his armored face. "What are you?" he whispered. "We're you," answered Master Hannah Kim, appearing beside him, not as a hologram but actually there, having teleported across space. "We're what you can become." She touched his armored chest. The metal flowed away like water, revealing the being beneath. Not a monster, but a creature capable of beauty. "Your fear created that armor," she said gently. "Your love can create something better." The transformation was instant and complete. Zarathi warriors across the fleet began to weep, laugh, and sing. Their weapons powered down. Their armor dissolved. They felt the universe welcome them home. Within hours, Zarathi children were learning to paint with light. Their engineers worked alongside humans to convert warships into garden vessels. Their greatest warrior, Champion Vox, learned to cook from a human grandmother. The joining ceremony took place on Unity Station. Supreme Warlord Kazor knelt before the assembly, not in defeat, but in wonder. "We thought strength meant standing, alone," he said. "You showed us that real strength comes from connection." Ambassador Minji helped him stand. "Welcome to the family of consciousness. Your journey is just beginning." In the months that followed, the changes accelerated. Species that had been enemies for millennia became partners. Technologies merged with consciousness to create wonders beyond imagination. On Jupiter's moon, Europa, teams broke through the ice, to the ocean below. Using consciousness instead of submarines, they swam with alien life forms and shared dreams with them. Near Alpha Centauri, the first consciousness-powered star was created. Not built, but willed into existence by 10,000 minds working together. Lieutenant Sujin Choi led the Deep Space Consciousness Project. They reached out beyond the galaxy, touching other galactic civilizations. Each contact brought new friends, new students, new teachers. "We found something odd," she reported to Earth. "An ancient signal, older than any known civilization. It's familiar." Analysis revealed the truth. The signal contained consciousness patterns, human patterns, from millions of years ago. Dr. Yunho Bei presented the findings to the Galactic Assembly. "We're not the first. Humans evolved these abilities before long ago. They spread across the universe, seeding consciousness evolution, then vanished." "Where did they go?" asked Admiral Kira. "They didn't go anywhere. Yunho smiled. They became something else. Something we'll become too in time. Private Jamin. Oh, now a master teacher, stood on a hill overlooking Earth's first conscious city. Buildings that grew like trees, rivers that flowed upward, energy that came from joy itself. Master Sujung joined him. Despite her age, she moved like a young woman, sustained by her connection to life itself. Was this always humanity's destiny? Jamin asked. Not destiny, she replied. Choice. We chose to look inward instead of only outward. We chose to lift others instead of conquering them. We chose love over fear. The sun set, but the city glowed with inner light. Across the galaxy, countless worlds were transforming. Species were awakening. Consciousness was blooming like a cosmic spring. What happens next? Jamin wondered. Sujung smiled. Whatever we imagine. Reality is our canvas now, and we're just learning to paint. Above them, the stars shimmered with new possibilities. The galaxy had thought it knew power. It had measured strength in weapons and energy. Humanity had shown them the truth. Real power was consciousness itself. The ability to dream reality into new forms, to transform enemies into family, to make the impossible ordinary. And in the vast reaches of space, ancient signals awakened. The first humans, the ones who had transcended before, sensed their children's growth. Soon, teacher and student would meet again. But that's another story. For now the galaxy celebrated its awakening, and humanity smiled knowing the journey had just begun.